This is Licia male
So
enhancement.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm dreaming of a foil, Liliana, just like the regular one I own, where the corners glisten and Lowery will listen to
Doubtful.
hear how many I own. That's it.
That's it. Dreaming about a white Christmas?
Dreaming of a White Christmas. Here's the funny thing. I don't know who wrote it. I didn't look it up.
That's two in a row that we botched on that one.
Here's the best part is you effed up the last one not knowing who sang it. And then I was like, oh, mental note. I need to find out who sings it. And then between our episodes, I didn't fucking go.
That's okay.
I have to look it up. Okay, yeah, fine. Well, it'll be listed there. I don't know. I'm sorry. Dreaming of a White Christmas by
we're in trouble.
Bing Crosby.
Oh, that is a really good guess, though. Let's be honest.
Oh, should I look? Hold on. Let me check. I have to check this before we... Dreaming...
It's like at the top.
Oh, there you go. Dreaming of a White Christmas. What if I was right? Oh, holy shit! Holy shit!
You did everything back then. That's crazy.
I just pulled that out of my ass. So, anyways, Cindy helped me with that one because
right on.
it was just like, I gotta come up with a song, and we're meeting in like half an hour, 45 minutes, and she starts singing. She's like, "I'm dreaming of one of your shiny cards." And I was just like, "Oh, okay, that works."
So the. You know it's after Christmas, right?
I know. It's going to be New Year's when they hear this one. Yeah. But it's before Christmas when I
New
sang
Year, everybody.
But I didn't say Christmas. I was dreaming of a foil Liliana. I got a shit ton of regular ones off of that Ultimate Masters. No foils, though. So,
that's right.
Anyways, welcome to CommanderSmiths.
We are the CommanderSmiths.
I'm Adam Smith.
And I am Lowery Smith.
And this is episode number 46.
46. We totally missed the 45 dig.
Yeah, we did.
Man,
45.
Last episode. Yeah, that's like a Minnesota channel that plays the Twins or something.
Yeah.
Or used to, at least.
Side note to this, we've been drinking, we're 3 beers of some strong beer deep, and we are going to crack our last one of this, and then we get into my just personal stash of Northeast after this. If we, but this is what? How many percent alcohol?
We're getting it. This one's going to be Hand of the Queen. So we're going to get a little bit of Tyrion in our mouth. Barley wine ale.
I gotcha.
It is 10.7%. So. Oh, this should be fun.
Lowery's staying the night? Oh, let's get it so we don't
I'm definitely staying the night after this.
All right. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
It doesn't taste any different than what we've kind of been... I mean, the second beer kind of reminds me of that one.
It's very different. It has some thickness to it. This is not my favorite out of the 4.
I don't even taste the strongness of the alcohol. Uh-oh.
That's going to get you. It's coming to get you.
That's dangerous. All right, so what do we got on the docket for this after Christmas, New Year's episode? So hopefully we have listeners, but everybody's effing hungover.
Too bad.
Who wants to listen to those fuckers?
One of the people on Twitter, they suggested...
Who was it?
Tony Untitled. He has been a
contributor.
And, talked with us before, and he has some good ideas and good opinions. And
we brought up a couple things that we're going to kind of discuss on this week's episode. So first one is...
We'll have a reserve list discussion a little bit and kind of more of like why we use it and talk about it a little bit.
And then we get into... Lowery made a Commander deck this week, and I was like, dude, let's frickin' put it on Commander Spotlight. It's not any... Normally we like to use theme like, hey, this set came out, or blah, blah, blah. You know, this is a good commander from this set. Well,
it's just been hanging around. Like, I've wanted to build it for a while, and finally I was like, fuck it, let's put it together.
This is an episode where everybody's fucking hungover anyway, so let's throw this one out there. We might not get anybody listening to it. So.
Licia Sanguine Tribune?
Yep. Sanguine Tribune.
Tribune.
But the thing is it's a cool deck. The more you were talking about it, I was like, you made the deck. Sometimes you make decks and you're just like, I don't like how this is working. But you were saying you
this
liked how
felt
this one
really cool. Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it. Let's use this as one of our topics this week. And then we finish off with just the tips.
Just the tips about land destruction. Another one from Tony on Tilt from Twitter.
It was the same email that he kind of sent out with when we were talking about the underrated cards, and that's how it kind of popped in. So why don't we start things? Well, no. Where do they find us?
You can find us on Twitter,
or you can find us at Gmail.
Oh, we had it at the end last time. Really good. How about you do it then? Say you can find us on
Twitter
at CommanderSmiths.
You can Gmail us
at CommanderSmiths.
Or you can YouTube us
at CommanderSmiths.
And you can like and subscribe and say all nice things on YouTube too. So that's good.
I do really prefer that way. I think I like that back and forth.
Back and forth? Yeah. I do. Yeah. Okay. Instead of just trading off.
Yeah.
You guys just got the on-air production meeting right there. We just did it.
See how we change stuff? It's fluid. Real fluid.
So anyways, let's start off with our segment 1.
So Tony on Tilt commented that he really didn't like how we talked about reserve list cards.
He didn't say he didn't like. He was more saying like it could come off that we're promoting
like a spike or something,
like
in
trying to make
cards.
reserve list cards go up. And to be honest with you, that's not what we're doing.
I was going to say, to be honest with you, we just don't have that many listeners.
That's the other thing. Yeah. If we could, that'd be amazing. If we could do that,
it's like, I would abuse that power.
You know what I'm looking for? I want my island from Judgment to go up. So can everybody? That's
a great spec. Oh my gosh!
I couldn't think of anything.
What did you say?
I said island from Judgment.
Well, that's probably the best basic land out of there. But I would have said mountain, and then you'd be really abusive power. No, like we just don't have that kind of pull.
But really, when and I get what he's saying is like you could get other people listening that that aren't familiar with our show or haven't listened to our show a lot and be like, they're just trying to promote cards and make the spike happen. And that's not really what we're doing. We're really more...
This is a solid, good card.
Right.
We're not on the reserve list, so we bring it up, like, not because it's on the reserve list.
Almost even more so, though, because we're saying, like, because of how reserve list is targeted, if you want to get it cheap now... Get them now, because especially if they're on a card that we're saying is underused and it's on the reserve list. Well, once people get start looking, hang of it, that card should be used in Commander.
It can easily be targeted, and you're just not going to get a reprint of it.
Right.
Like it's more of like we are concerned for your wallet being. So it's trying to be like, hey, this is good. Look, I'll be honest. Like we've brought up Lifeline a ton of times. I have like 5 copies.
Right, they're expensive. So it's harder to pull that one.
I have a ton of cards, and I like spending money on a ton of. I don't like spending money, but I like having a wide array of cards and enough to play with. And that's I just don't have that much money to go out and buy like 50 Lifelines. Like it's probably a good idea, but. It's just not realistic.
And doing that would create your own spike right there.
Sure, yeah.
But really what we're doing is we're not trying to do that. We're trying to inform you of cards like that. We're trying to save you money in the long run.
It's like, hey, this card is good. And we're starting to repeat ourselves because we're drunk from last episode. We're drunk an entire week at this beer. You guys are nuts.
Yeah. So, but anyways, the reserve list stuff, whenever we mention that, we're not going to be like, hey, go target this crappy reserve list because it's so low and no one... We want you to buy cards that are actually can be used in Commander.
And usable.
And
yeah,
even if you go back...
There are shitty reserve list cards out there that... They'll probably go up, but you're not going to play with them. They're no fun.
And if you're really curious about it too, if you're a newer listener with everything, you can go back to our previous episodes, which would
episode 2 and 3. We went deep dive on reserve list,
and then
cards.
We went back to reserve list stuff again.
Yeah.
So we've talked about them, but all of those, even the ones that we mentioned, there were a few hems and haws where like Lowery's like, I don't like that card as much, or I don't like, and I'm like, I don't like that card as much, but we both. One of us liked the cards. We were just mentioning cards. Hey, if you're looking to make a couple dollars, these cards, because at that time, the reserve list was being freaking targeted like crazy.
Yeah, it's not nearly as strong. It's still going up, though, but it's not like major spikes.
Like everything being bought out and everything. I think
just about everything we talk doubled.
Oh yeah,
easily.
For sure. From the very first time that we talked about them.
3.
Right. If you purchased then when we talked about it, if you are our 20 listeners that were that first month and a half.
If you've been here since the beginning.
I don't know how you were. Like, because I felt like that first month and a half was like all family.
It was definitely family and friends. There was at least 15.
And now we have like 0 family and 0 friends. Well, there's a couple of them. We got Jeremy's is catching up. He's 30 episodes behind.
Yeah, no. He said 14, 15?
He's on 14.
Yeah.
So he's going to hear this episode like 2.5 years from now and be like, oh, those fuckers talked about me. And you're like, yeah, dude, that was a long time ago. We're no longer friends, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Good job not being our friends, Jeremy. Jeez. So, and that's just kind of what we're aiming for. Like the main ones, like I can see it being like frustrating when we talk about reserve list cards on like super expensive cards or like unrealistically like.
And I don't even pick those up. Like I mean, some of those when we get up to the.
When
30,
we talk about
40,
dual lands,
50.
It's like, you should get them, but they are ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we got into them when they were much, much cheaper.
And they are on a decline right now, kind of, I think, because of everything that's been coming out. And they kind of spiked hard really quick. But they're still hundreds of dollars. I mean, you go for Underground Sea at one point was nearly $900. Now I think we're back down to $6, I think is where it's kind of sold at. But that's kind of what happens with spikes, is it spikes up and then it settles back down. But you look at that 6 before that 900 spike, it was around what, 300? So it's still, its settling range is double of what that was, and I don't think it's going to get much lower than. Which
sucks because it's fun to play with awesome cards,
right?
In my opinion. But like, so I'll probably be more conscious about using reserve list cards. I'm still not going to stop using them, especially if I have them.
But it's also a tip. It's kind of another just the tips thing. It's like when we tell you and they're cheap, like Lifeline is a little different. That's a little more expensive, but it hasn't spiked like some of those other cards that get over $100.
True.
And it's a very good card to use. So we're just not going to avoid talking about those because the thing is also helping you out. Hey, right now buy it for $20. 2-3 years from now, that's not going to be $20, and it's not to try to get a spike going. It's just to tell you, hey, if you want to play the way that we play, which I know everybody plays different, and we just kind of made our rules up with our proxies and everything like that. But if you play this way, this is a freaking good time to get it. You buy it once, you have the $20, you put this in every deck that it works with.
Yeah, and I've even missed it. Like I was sitting there, like I could have this in Vivictus Asmati deck to bring back whatever creature I sacrifice. I just thought about that literally right now.
As we're talking.
And during this week when we were having the discussion, I was like, I should have Lifeline in my Kraven Regna deck.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why don't I have it there? Like, it works in a ton of different decks. And as long as there isn't a Wrath, it just kind of
top 20 underused commander card.
It's a really good card.
It's in your binder, I'm guessing, right?
Yes.
And you just missed it when you were going through?
Well, no, it's in my Brea deck. So it's not even in my binder. So I visually
that's
didn't
why
even
you didn't see it.
Yeah.
Okay. And see, that's why I typically I have every copy of everything. It's in a binder. So that helps me a little bit. Mm-hmm. But you'll sometimes use...
I'll use them if I don't have a proxy and stuff like that.
And that's my fault because I haven't made you one yet.
Yeah, you're a jerk. So that's kind of... If you want us to go further into reserve list, if you want us to talk about something specifically reserve list, you ask a question and maybe we'll just answer it. Maybe we'll make it a segment on before Easter when nobody's listening.
I was thinking
my assumption we're gonna get like 50 listens and this is just gonna die, and I'm sorry, Tony on Tilt, this was like the worst time for people to like
I don't know, they're hungover. Maybe people might like the sound of our voice when they're hungover.
Are we gonna do that? Are we gonna release this on New Year's Day?
Well, no, I'll be flying back from Florida at that point. So
New Year's Day.
Oh, I could do it.
They're gonna be off work.
That's a good point.
See that? We're trying to do this for you.
We're thinking about you, the people. All right. Let's move into our next segment, which is Commander Spotlight.
A Spotlight deck.
Licia, Sanguine Tribune.
I've been dreaming about this deck for a long time.
I've been dreaming of this deck. I said deck. Deck. All right, so Licia, this is from our commander set, not this last one, the year before.
It's in the Vampire Tribal deck.
And she cost a shit ton, but it's 5 red, white, and black. But the reason why she cost a shit ton is because of this. Do you want me to read it?
No, read the
Okay,
one.
so she's a 4/4. She costs 1 less for each 1 life you gain this turn. She has first strike, lifelink. You can pay 5 life, put 3 1/1 counters on her, activate this ability only on your turn and only once each turn. So you can't abuse the F out of it, but she can get freaking huge. And if you put this, it has your good colors with white, gaining life.
You're going for it. And so the reason why I've really enjoyed this card, and I've wanted to play around with it, the tension of gaining life because she has lifelink and then paying life to put the 1/1 counters on it. It's kind of like a really nice little tension. Like, when do you use the ability? In my opinion, if you don't have haste, I wouldn't pay 5 life to do the three counters on it right away. I'd wait until I can attack with it. The first strike is pretty nice on it.
Yeah, because your lifelink still hits.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Kill it before it even whatever, and you get your lifelink from it. So that's pretty sweet.
You can use that ability anytime on your turn.
Isn't it weird when you have a vampire that doesn't have flying? Doesn't that just seem weird to you?
It's just a night walker.
Just a night walker. It doesn't. It's a vampire. What's a secondary? It's a vampire soldier.
Sure. Yeah, and soldiers don't fly. That was a mumble.
That was a slur right there. Soldiers don't fly.
That's why I'm staying here. So yeah, we're gonna have 2 episodes where I'm staying here when really I only went one night.
No, Larry stayed here for the entire time.
And so I wanted to as a deck theme, kind of look through cards where I'm paying life for an advantage, and then also you kind of need to gain life to be able to lose life.
Makes sense.
So it's not a gain life deck necessarily like a Loro. It's more like a balanced deck of paying life and losing life. And so that was kind of my thought, and I think the experiment kind of worked out quite a bit. The other thought is there's incremental life gain, so kind of like the Soul Sister style, where whenever a creature comes into play, you're gaining 1 life here, 1 life there, and that just doesn't work in this deck because you're paying mana to gain life, and that's a huge problem.
So it just takes away from. It doesn't help get her out.
Exactly. So what you want is somewhere where you can gain a chunk of life, and so that's where I have a big suite of life-linking creatures. Which we'll kind of get into.
All right, so what do we start off with? We're doing our...
I'll let you just kind of go through if you're like, what is that card?
So we have... This is a really good card. It actually is up there in price a little bit. Not up there, but I mean, it's not...
It's like $5-6, I think.
It's not like 5 cents, which is nice. So it's Rock's Faith Menderer, and this is 3 1 white, and it's a 1/5, and lifelink, and then if you would gain life, you gain twice that life. So it's...
It really helps out, like, if you're able to swing in and get Licia's lifelink going, you're gaining, 8.
Oh, I'm not even going to look at each card before, because I'm getting excited as I read each. So you use Gisela, the Broken Blade, which, do you have the secondary part to her?
I definitely do. Not in here, though.
Oh, not in here?
Nope.
Oh, I was hoping, because we haven't really seen the melding come together before.
Yeah.
So this is that angel that you can meld if you have the other part of her. It melds into a 9/10 ridiculous fucking Eldrazi
monster,
whatever.
Yeah.
But her part is she's a two colors, 2 white, and she's a 4/3 flying first strike lifelink. At the end, the other part of it is the melding part, but you don't have the melding part with her.
So it doesn't matter, yeah.
The main part is it's a 4-drop for a 4/3 with a lot of shit.
Flying first strike
and your lifelink.
And the lifelink. So let's say you play that turn 4, you hit with it on turn 5, you gain 4 life, and then you can pay 4 and 4, 4 life gain, 4. You have that out on turn 5 with a little bit of mana left open.
Right. And one thing we should side note to your commander, Licia, is that if she gets killed, that commander tax is also reduced, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And so if you're able to gain more life than the 5, the colorless that it has, so
then it reduces
7,
that 2 down.
Reduces that well. So you can continually pay red, white, black to just cast it if you're gaining enough life.
Yeah. So next one is an awesome card, Lyra Dawnbringer, which she's in standard right now. She has flying, first strike, lifelink. Other angels you control get 1/1 and lifelink. So all the other angels but you're mainly playing with your lifelink.
I think I always missed that. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I didn't realize angels gain lifelink.
But I was thinking that most of your
them-
angels have your lifelink already.
So like this
in there.
one, Baneslayer Angel.
Baneslayer,
very
that's
similar.
flying first strike, lifelink, protection from dragons and demons, and that's a 5/5 for a 5-drop. Then you have Sarah's Ascendant, ridiculous card for Commander, such a cheater card for Commander.
It's 1 white mana for a 1/1, right?
Yeah, 1/1 that if you have 30 or more life, it gets 5+5 and flying, and it has lifelink. So
Yeah,
it's
that
a
gets
6/6 flying for
You
1.
can turn 3 Licia with that.
So stupid.
So yeah, I kind of have those garbage cards. This next one too.
Divinity of Pride. It is 5, either white or black, flying lifelink. If you have 25 or more life, it gains 4+4. So it turns into an 8/8 flying lifelink. Stupid.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is really good. Do we want to talk about her?
We can skip Timna is there.
Then you have your game winner, one of your game winners, which is Feldar Sovereign.
Yeah, I think that's pretty typical in life gain decks.
Right. And he has the buy a box promo. Isn't that?
I'm not sure. It might just be
a promo, but I thought
yeah.
normally it had the 5 symbols like that. It was like whatever. It's whatever. It's a promo.
So
one.
if you have 40 or more life, you win the game at your upkeep with this card in play.
Yeah, and then Batter Skull. That's a good ad in there. This is one that I was just talking about to you in Arena that I just got done by.
Yeah, Danitha is pretty sweet.
So Danitha is from Dominarian. She's a 2 and 1 white first strike. Vigilance lifelink. Your aura and equipment spells cost 1 less to cast, and she's a 2/2. She is a legendary creature, if I didn't mention that already.
She's going to stop a lot of stuff early game if you play it. In later game, we have stuff that can kind of pump it and make it pretty badass.
And then you got your Vampire Nighthawk, Gifted Aetherborn, which is Death Touch lifelink, which
Both
is nice.
of them, yeah.
And then we end... Oh, Legion's Landing you got in there, too.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Legion's Landing is just
making little 1/1s after you have 3 creatures that attack, and then you can fuckers.
then you can flip it, and it makes more 1/1 life linkers. This next package is kind of the
Yumizawa's Jit. What?
But it's used for a different reason. So this is the life gain package where you just
really? You're gonna use the life gain? Oh, I'm sure you're gonna use the life gain.
You gain life with it. It's easy. So, okay, you can do a couple tricks. So this package, you're trying not to spend mana, but still gain life. So that kind of comes with the permanence and lifelink and stuff like that. So Umezawa's Jit, just read the life
basically you have 3 different things that it can do. It's a 2-drop. You can attach it for 2. When it deals combat damage, it doesn't have to deal damage to a player. You get to put 2 counters on it. You can remove a counter to either give it 2+2, give a creature -1/-1, or you gain 2 life. Mm-hmm. So there's your gain life right there. You remove both the counters, you gain 4 life. Your commander now costs 3 and 1.
Yeah. And little tricks here. If you didn't notice, there's a bunch of creatures there with first strike. You can you put the counters on it before other first strike creatures. So like, let's say Licia has Jit on it. Mm-hmm. And it's a creature that can potentially kill it. The first strike puts the counters on Jit,
you pump
and you can actually pump it so that it doesn't die, or you can -1/-1 it until end of turn to make Licia not die. You can do all those tricks in between their non-first strike damage.
Right.
And so
the first strike damage still happens to theirs, so you can't pump it to get the more damage,
it's not
but it's more making
damage.
yours survive.
Yep. So you can do those little interactions in between. And that's...
I have a feeling this is going to be a card that comes back to we were wrong.
No,
I'm just kidding. No. I'm kidding.
No, I'm kidding. I'm very certain of that. At least 75%.
75% of the time it works 100% of the time.
10.7% accurate.
All right, so then you have Venser's Journal, which is you have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of your upkeep, gain 1 life for each card in your hand, so multiple cards,
during your upkeep,
gaining life.
Free
like
life
that. Children's of Corliss. It's a 1-drop 1/1 sacrifice. You gain life equal to the life you lost this turn. So that's
So if you're paying life, like I was talking about that tension in between it, you can actually just gain all that life back.
I was like, God, this would suck because you're not going to cast your commander on other people's turns, but if you're paying life and all that stuff.
So let's say that Licia is attacking, And because you can pump it right before combat damage is dealt, and somebody goes, well, I'm going to kill it in response. You lost that 5 life. If this is on board, you can sacrifice it and gain that 5 life back.
Right.
And then easily potentially replay Licia back again because you gain 5 life that turn.
Nice.
So it might only cost 5 that turn. If you gain more life, it might just be down to 3. If you're paying more life for different effects that we'll talk about later, you gain all of that life back if you've done it already. So this can be a sneaky, powerful card. And with like Rock's Faith Mender, where you're doubling life gain, doubles it.
Oh yeah, so you're really that's pretty crazy.
For 1 mana, it's a pretty cool card.
Then you have like Souls Warden, but it's a Rock Champion, which is the protection from black and red, gain a life for each.
That's more
creature.
just like protection from red and black and stuff like that.
Do we want to talk about Hide and Seek?
Actually, yeah, that's a pretty cool card as well.
So Hide is an instant. Put target artifact or enchantment on the bottom of owner's library. So
basic
you're dealing
removal.
with removal stuff. But your Seek part is white and black. Search target opponent's library for a card and remove that card from the game. You gain life equal to the converted mana cost. Then so you're just searching for the highest cost.
You can gain a ton of life, and so that's a black and a white, and you can Licia on turn 5 with that.
That's pretty.
And gain more life than needed, or like if it's later on in the game, you can go find something that's 7 or 8 and reduce that commander tax. And it can be really powerful.
And you're removing a card from their freaking library from the game.
That Blightsteel Colossus that you always talk about.
The sound of beer. The sound of Lowery staying over tonight. All right, then you got Huatli, Warrior Poet, which is 3 red and a white.
And the major thing is just the first one.
You gain life equal to the greatest power among creatures you control, which is a +2. So you're plussing this up. It's 0 is getting a dinosaur into play, but then it's X is you can kill things, which is nice.
And makes it so they can't block, so you're getting through with your life linkers as well.
Perfect.
But like the cool thing is you could pay the 5 life, put the 3 counters on Licia, and then gain that life again.
Is this one of the cards you had to buy to make this deck, or did you have Huatli?
I bought it back
at
in the
card
fall.
store. Okay,
back
gotcha.
In the fall, yeah.
And then this one is brutal in any freaking Commander game. It's was it Sangromancer?
Yeah, Sangromancer.
So this is just, we've seen this played so many times. In general, it doesn't matter if it's in your life gaining deck. It's a flying 3/3 vampire. But whenever a creature opponent controls is put in the graveyard from the battlefield, you may gain 3 life. Whenever an opponent discards a card, you may gain 3. So there's just a ton of gain life stuff. And it's any creature that goes in the graveyard. That's a ton of life that's potentially gained there.
So, yeah, and it's not rare. Whenever I see it played, I feel like I see that player gain 9 life off of it. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, that's kind of what I've noticed. And you're just like, wow, that's really good. You can just attack with all your first strikers. They have a bunch of things die, and you gain that life, and you're able to play Licia a lot cheaper.
I actually know Mark was playing with this card, and I Mirage Mirrored just so I could gain life to get back into the game on a couple things. Like something was dying. I was like, Mirage Mirror, I'm copying yours. And then everybody else's, their stuff was dying. So it's worth even copying with Mirage Mirror. So
this first one here, this is kind of the protection enhancement package here. This is Licia Mail Enhancement.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's the blue pill.
I knew it. When your face changed, you're like, enhancement. There's a joke there.
Well, no, you said protection, and then you did enhancement. I was like, what the hell is going on?
I didn't think that you would go there. All right. I went there.
You did the enhancement part. So it's like a condom that gets you extra hard. More hard than you've ever been in your life.
If somebody could make money off of that.
Well, somebody would make money. Somebody could make that.
Oh, yeah. Super hard and protected.
All right, so Righteous War. Is this a reserve list?
This is reserve list.
But
I highly suggest this for any black-white commander.
Yeah, we've actually mentioned this one before. Yeah. So this is 1 white, 1 black, and 1 colorless enchantment. All white creatures you control gain protection from black. Vice versa for black creatures.
All black creatures get protection from white. This gives you protection from half of the game, pretty much.
Right. And a lot of the removal crap in the game. So then you got Sower of War and Peace, which is the 2/2 protection from red and white. And then when it deals damage to a player, it deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in that player's hand. gain a life for each card in your hand. So
again, that's that life gain. So that could have been in the life gain section or whatever, but that allows you to hit and be able to have some protection to get through and still gain a bunch of life.
So a little confused on this one, though. Haunted Cloak, it gives vigilance, trample, and haste, but there's no lifelink in it.
Also true. Yeah. But, I mean, sometimes you just got to go. The vigilance is really nice on it. That is probably one of my flex spots at this point.
Okay.
If I can... I've debated on getting something in there that gives me all vigilance, or I have enough
what about
first strike creatures in here that...
Was it the Loxodon Hammer, the elephant one? Isn't that...
That gives +3/+0 vigilant or trample and
lifelink. Okay,
and I have lifelink is kind of redundant in this deck because so many
everything
of them
has
have
lifelink.
it.
I got
but the first strike, I want to play around with like vigilance or death touch. Mm-hmm. But this seems to be pretty good because the haste is really nice.
I do like the equipped cost 1.
Yeah,
which is very nice. All right, then you have Dominaria, another legendary uncommon creature, which is... I love that they did that.
Yeah.
So it's was it Quendi?
Quende
Pride. Okay, so it seems like something from Black Panther.
Yeah.
Quende. I don't know. I just
movie.
watched that
it's
movie,
a great movie. Yeah.
and we had a discussion on that. I was like, it doesn't feel like the superhero movies that I've seen, like, with whatever. We don't need to talk about
because
that.
it's not, and that's why it's good.
Cool story, Hansel. All right, so 3 and a white, double strike 2/2. Creatures you control with first strike have double strike.
I think I remember counting that I have like over 10 first strikers in this deck.
Oh, nice.
And it's just like, yeah, give Licia double strike and give other creatures double strike, like Lyra or Baneslayer. Like, that seems sick.
Yeah. Then you got Angelic. I almost said the same thing again. I was going to say, stupid beer. Angelic Destiny. This is 2 and 2 white. It's an aura. Enchanted creature gets 4/4 flying first strike and is an angel in addition to its other types. When the enchanted creature dies, return this angelic destiny to its owner's hand. So you can put it on another one.
This is another one that I'm kind of playing around with. Like I kind of, when I was making the deck, I like took it out, put it in, took it out, put it in.
So it was on your cutting board.
Yeah, and I want to play with it a little bit more but like in my mind, giving Licia, it turned it into a 11/11 flying first strike. Life linker, like, because you're adding the 3 life and then you're just going to gain that all back, or 3 counters. So it seems like it could be really powerful, and it really pumps up other cards. Like putting it on a Danitha seems really cool.
Yeah.
So
all right, so Brutal Horde Chief, and this is a 3 and a black 3/3 Orc Warrior. Whenever a creature you control attacks, defending player loses a life and you gain a life.
But the important part,
I'm just checking here. Whenever a creature you control. So is that multiple creatures would do it? Okay.
That would trigger a bunch. But again, that's kind of that incremental stuff unless you have a big board state. But
then you have 3 white or red creatures your opponents control block this turn if able, and you choose how those creatures block.
So it's kind of like a Master Warcraft on a stick.
That's pretty crazy.
And so you're throwing those creatures however you want into... Maybe if you're just attacking with a bunch of creatures, you can have them all block a 1/1 lifelinker. And they kill that, obviously, and everything else gets through.
That's pretty sweet.
I think... I got to actually...
I don't want you to play that because that sucks.
Block this turn. If somebody is attacking... This is a multiplayer game, right? If somebody else is attacking another player, you can pay that 5 and... choose how they lose their creatures, essentially.
Creatures your opponents control block this turn if able, and you choose how those creatures block. Yeah, that's a good point.
So you could do it if you're not being attacked. You could even do it if you're being attacked and other people are attacked.
Right.
And you can just mess with combat with this card. Again, another one that I haven't played with before, but it seems really good in this deck with a bunch of...
it seems like something that needs to die as soon as it comes out.
And it's still gaining you the life that benefits.
I will remember that and warn everybody when it's played.
This is why I regret doing spotlights before playing it.
All right, then you have Hatred, which is 3 and 2 black. It's an instant. This one is interesting because you'll actually get your... because most of your stuff has lifelink, so you're going to get your commander out very easily, but because what it is pay X life, target creature gets X plus O until end of turn. That could be a game winner against kill one person off. And then
if you have at least one more life than them, you can pay all of your life but one
and
kill them. Probably gain life back. Yeah. So and that's an instant.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. But then it
is reserve list though.
At the very least, you're getting your commander out.
Yeah.
For 3.
And again with hatred,
I should say it has to have lifelink because
it doesn't have to. But
no.
now,
I mean, to get your commander out
totally
for free. Yeah.
But also, like, let's say you just put it on any black commander, you can pay.
Why does it have to be black, Lowery?
Because the card is black. All the cards are black. Let's say you have a 2/2. You can pay 19 life 2021 and kill somebody if it's getting through.
I gotta count this through. Well, no, the thing is like most of your stuff is lifelink. So
and so you're going to gain
everything
that life back,
everything you're putting into this, unless they remove your creature after you pay the life, which I'm planning on doing.
Yeah, now that is a huge
Cyclonic
problem.
Rift.
That is a huge problem. If you pay all that life, understand that part. Yeah, if you pay all that life and it does not
make
deal
sure
the
everybody's
damage,
tapped out.
you can get really in trouble.
But this is a very good card. I think that's a perfect add into this. And then we end with Herald of Torment. This is 1/2 black. It has Bestow, which is you can cast this card for its Bestow cost. It's an aura instead. So you attach it to a creature, and its Bestow cost is 3 and 2 black. It's by itself, it's a flying 3/3. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life. Enchanted creature gets 3+3 in flying. So you're more thinking this, adding it to your commander to give it flying and 3+3?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
And it's just a little bit more of evasion, and it's kind of on theme when you're paying that life at your upkeep. But +3/+3, and then if somebody wraths the board, you do get that creature afterwards as well. So it's a little bit of an advantage, and 5 mana is not it's not too bad to ask for.
All right, so then we start in our next package, and we just have a blank card.
No, it's that card. It's a flip card.
It's just a card.
So Path of Metal, fuck him. It's an enchantment for a red and a white. When it comes into play, it deals 1 damage to all creatures without first strike vigilance.
And then it flips over, add 1 color of mana to your mana pool, or you can tap a red and a colorless. It deals 2 damage to each opponent. Or 2 white, or 2 and a white. Choose target creature at random that attack this turn. Destroy that creature.
So it's kind of cool because you can get a little bit of reach and deal 2 damage to all your opponents. But also you can do that before they deal you damage. It's attacking.
Man, so all the flip cards have such use, in freaking Commander.
And again, this flips when you attack with like 2 or 3 first strikers, while with your commander being first strike.
2 creatures that have first strike, double strike, vigilance, and haste.
Or haste.
Yeah.
And so there's enough creatures that should be able to allow it to flip pretty quick here. And then being able to have them randomly destroy or sacrifice an attacking creature, that's huge. That should scare a lot of people
from attacking you.
Yeah. Is that even attacking you, or is it attacking a player?
Random that attacked this turn.
Yeah, so you could do that if they're not even attacking you. I suggest that you don't do that so that they continue to not attack
you. Yeah, you wait on that.
But if you want to be an aggressive dickhead, whatever.
And then you have a blank card here.
No,
I'm just kidding. Then we get into Toxic Deluge, which is a good card to have in any black deck.
But it's more on theme of just
because you're paying life.
Yeah.
So it fits with your removal. All creatures get X minus X, where X is the amount of life you pay. Earthquake deals X damage to each player and each creature without flying.
So very similar to you're paying life, but you're just taking the damage.
You're a non-flying vampire. That works well.
It's okay.
Just kidding.
Because of this card.
Okay. Chandra's Ignition.
Chandra's
yeah. Chandra.
You know Chandra.
I know.
She's like friends with us. She's coming to Christmas. What are you doing? She came to Christmas because we're New Year's. Damn it.
What?
I don't know.
What's going on? I'm so good. Chandra. Chandra? Charandra's? I'm just kidding. So 3 and 2 red. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature and each opponent.
So, cool thing about this, it's the creature dealing the damage. So if you have a lifelinker like Licia, you gain as much life as that's being damaged.
That's pretty brutal.
So it's to the opponent, to all of the creatures. That's nuts.
Yeah, that
on
is
a
pretty
lifelinker.
brutal.
Like, let's say you go Licia, you pump it 5, and then so it's 7 damage to each creature. Let's say there's 3 players. That's 7, 14, 21 life you just gained, plus whatever creatures are on board. That is a ton of life.
Yeah, that's a good swing. I like that. That's a good Chandra. All right,
playing it up.
Fire Covenant. This is an old school. I have this guy. It's just a dragon, just chilling out. He's 1.
It's not a dragon. It's an instant.
No, it's a dragon that's sitting there
it's
on the
picture. Yeah.
It's a dragon. 1
You're
black
dragon,
red instant.
Adam.
You're a wizard, Ari.
Well, at least you got it.
Fire Covenant deals X damage divided any way you choose among any number of target creatures, where X is equal to the amount of life you pay. You cannot prevent or redirect this.
So
loss
again,
of life.
like remember Children of Corliss. You can gain that life back. I hate scary movies. But this is something that you can directly kill cards that you want dead, creatures that you want dead. And it's also kind of on theme with
getting
rid of your life.
I kind of want to. You give up a lot of life in this deck, and I really want to play you 1-on-1.
Yeah, I'm worried about killing myself.
with my direct damage. All right, Killing Wave. I like you got a foil one of this. Nice.
Yeah, that's a promo. Full art promo.
It's X in a black sorcery for each creature its controller sacrifices it unless he or she pays X life. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it can get really crazy. I think there's a lot of interesting interactions that you can have there as well.
Imagine the tokens that are out there.
Yeah, if there's a bunch of 1/1s, you just wipe the board there.
And then you just have Anguish the Unmaking, which you exile non-land permanent. You lose a life. You're all about losing life. Killing yourself,
I'm
Lowery.
on that. This is my draw card package here.
That's a big package.
Thank you.
Erebos, God of the Dead, 3 and a black. This is indestructible. Your opponents can't gain life. Pay 2 life to draw a card by paying a black and a colorless.
That's pretty much it.
Dawn of the Hope, which is from Guilds of Ravnica. And whenever you gain life, pay 2, and you can also draw a card. You can make 1/1 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink as well.
Yeah.
Then we get Well of Lost Dreams. That's whenever you gain life, you may pay X, where X is the amount of life you gained. If you do, draw X cards. So there's where you're gaining multiple life.
Yeah.
That helps with that. That's a really good draw engine for that.
Actually, this one is impressive in my testing.
I like this card. I actually have quite a few of these.
I disliked it before this.
What is it? How do you say?
Arguel's
Bloodfast.
Fast.
It's a legendary enchantment, 1 white and black, and you can pay 2 life to draw a card at the beginning of your upkeep. If you have 5 or less life, you may transform it into...
I don't ever plan on doing that. I will never lose.
And it says you will never lose.
I get to sacrifice a creature and gain life to its toughness, or
but
pay a
it
black.
says you may, so you don't ever have to flip it over. You can actually keep it as your drawing.
Yeah.
Pay 2 life and draw.
It's already way too hard in Commander to flip it, and I'd much rather just draw the cards at this point.
I think it's a really good. I have a few of those.
It's just really cheap.
Yeah, money wise and cost wise to
also
come out.
True. Yeah.
And then you have Phyrexian Arena. We all know what that
Classic.
does. Blood Gift Demon. That was one of my specs months ago as a foil one of that. But that's at the beginning of your upkeep. Target player draws a card and loses a life. And Sensei's. We all know what Sensei's does because it's a must-have in every deck. All right, so we're moving into your last package? Or second to last package?
We don't have to talk. I do have a ramp package, but we don't have to talk about that.
So you have Reanimate, which is put target creature...
These are the pay life for bonuses as well.
I don't think Aether... Well, I guess you're doing the damage.
Yeah.
Reanimate is put target creature from any graveyard into play under your control, lose life equal to that converted mana cost.
I don't play this in Commander, but it just feels so powerful because you're able to take from other people's graveyards, and it allows you to not be afraid when you have life gain coming on.
Right.
Because I feel like if I'm like, I'm going to bring back that, like, I'm going to pay 7 to bring back that creature. You're like, oh, that's kind of painful later on in the game.
Then you have Aetherflux Reservoir, which is almost a must in every...
Essentially, you pay 50 life and you deal 50 damage. And again, Children of Corliss gains you all that life back again. Children of the Corn!
And then you have Righteous Aura, and that is an enchantment, 1 white and 1 colorless. Tap 1, pay 2 life, prevent all damage to you from any one source.
Yeah, it's really powerful in my mind. Paying 2 life, whatever. I'm paying a ton more life in a bunch of different things.
Right.
So,
and then Phyrexian Reclamation, which is the pay 2 life, return target creature from your graveyard to your hand.
Yeah, this card is crazy good. So, and that was kind of the gist of it. I have, some ramp in there. I believe I have some land as well.
I believe I have some. There might be some land that's involved in this deck. No, it seems there's a lot more pain life than I thought there would be, but I get it because you're gaining so much life.
Yeah, and the big chunks of it can get really big, and that, like, if you're gaining 10, 15 life a turn, that could be really powerful. Right. And you might as well, in my mind, I'm trying to use that life instead of, I mean, if you get to 100 life, it's like, whoopee, you're not winning the game, you're just not losing the game. Here, I want to be advancing my board state by being able to pay and kill stuff with, like, Fire Covenant and Toxic Deluge. It feels like it can be a really fun deck. But like I told you, like when I texted you, I was like, this is really fun, but I'm probably going to kill myself with this. Yeah. I'm going to put myself in a position
you're
that I'm
do
going
a Lowery
to
thing and kill yourself.
Yeah. And I think this is going to be a deck that I'm going to have to learn how to play really well.
Right.
And just like pay attention to the board state, make sure that there's a lot of things that can go wrong if somebody just goes destroy that creature while you've already paid the life. Like, you definitely need to worry about that, and that's why I like Righteous War that gives protection from black and white, and it's really important.
A lot of protection from the removal crap.
Yeah, I think that in black, white, and red, there's not a ton of like mass protection. There's like Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots that I have, Righteous War, and like the red white sword of X and Y or whatever it was. But after that, there's not a ton. If there's others out there, please send me a suggestion. It'd be nice to kind of do that. And then again, if I have more protection from like colors, I'll have to get rid of those auras that I have used. And that's not a problem either. A lot of those were kind of flex spots anyway.
How many flex spots do you think you had?
Probably around 7.
Okay.
Very specific number off the top of my head.
Probably around 7.
It could be 7.5. I mean, but I feel like that first strike I could play around with a little bit because I had Kuende in there that gave the double strike.
Yeah.
But I was saying like the black archetype from Theros block gives all your creatures death touch, which could be really powerful in here as well.
With the first strike, double
with the
strike,
first strike, yeah. And so it's or you could have the white archetype that gives all your creatures first strike, and then maybe play around with a bit more death touch in the deck. So I think it's important. I haven't played it at all yet, other than just kind of like goldfishing, and so it'll be important to see like these life link creatures, how targeted will they become? Like, what before turn 4? What am I doing? Like, these are the questions that I don't really know.
Right
at this point.
Is your commander the game winner kind of thing? Or are you focused on her killing everybody, like killing most people? Or is it one swinging through with the giving it X+O, kind of killing somebody that way? Or Aetherflux? Or you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm hoping there's a lot of different ways with this deck.
But I'm just thinking what your focus might be. Is like your commander... You're hoping.
Oh, come on! You know me. I don't have much focus.
Get as much land out as possible and draw as many cards, and then something good will happen. Right?
It's generally pretty accurate. You were impressed with my draw package.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So
it's good for us, man.
The hope is that I'm gaining enough life to be able to use those resources and like wipe the board, but keep mine semi around. like with Fire Covenant again, or Toxic Deluge. Those are huge cards, I think, in this deck.
But Toxic Deluge would kill yours too
if you pay that much mana.
Right.
But you can like, if you know you're going to do it the next turn, you can pay 5 life, put 3 counters on it, and then do it again the next turn.
Keep
and then
her alive.
She's a 7, 8, 9. She's a 10/10, and you can pay 9 life.
And there you go. There's your commander damage right there too. So
she should.
But
be
she doesn't have flying, which is weird for a vampire.
But she's red and white, and that's not that big of a deal. Maybe it is.
It's just weird to me when they have the vampires that don't have flying, and they have a lot of them. They're walking.
Yeah. So
vampires.
why is it weird? Why are you so like used to them?
Because they should have flying. I don't know.
Because they're a bat.
Yeah.
I feel like when they are bats, they can fly. And that'd be weird if they were a bat that didn't fly. But vampires are different than bats.
But you watch vampire movies, they're all freaking flying. So it'd be like
weird
to
like
see
creep around in the shadows.
It'd be weird to see the bats crawling on the ground. Like because they are. I don't know. Anyways, cool story. No, I
mean bats do crawl on the ground too.
I'm gonna be interested to play this.
I think it's gonna be fun.
I want to see how it does with a 4-person game, because then you really do have to plan it out. Like you said, you have to figure out how your board is, what everybody's doing, killing your shit.
So I'll toss this up on Tapped Out, and then you guys can rip it apart if you so choose. But I think it should be decently fun.
Yeah, you have a lot of. I thought it would be more of like everything gain life, but I like that you have a mix of the gain life, and because you're gaining your life using that, like you said, using what you're gaining to not just sit there and be like, hey, I have 300 life.
Well, and yeah,
you're like, hey, I have 300 life, but I'm going to sacrifice this amount of life to kill you or to do this or that.
If I'm at 300 life, I'm hoping that I go and get like
Aether Flux Reservoir and kill everybody at once.
Dead. Good to go. I'm going to sacrifice.
Drop the mic.
So it feels like it could be at least a lot of fun, at the very least. So I'm excited to play it.
We'll have to test this out here soon. Maybe tonight.
Could be tonight since I'm staying the night.
Drunken test. It's not gonna be a very good test. I'm gonna miss so many things and be like, oh fuck, I forgot to tap and play things and stuff, and you win.
No descriptive words.
What was that one time we were playing? I got super hammered and Grant was like making me really strong ass drinks, and I kept repeating the crap out of myself. Do you remember that?
No.
But I think
he was making me really
Oh, yeah, we were both drunk. That's right.
Yeah.
I kept being like, wait, what is that? Like, I blocked wrong, and I was like, why? I don't get it. So confused. Anyways.
Fun times.
All right, so let's move into just the tips.
Just the tips. Okay, so we want to talk about land destruction. Tony on Tilt again.
He's the star here.
No, I like it. I like the interaction. But if there's too much, I'm gonna curl into a ball. But so he kind of was like talking about underused cards. There was a dwarf from, I want to say Torment. It's
Sounds about right.
1/2. And you can pay a red and a colorless, tap it to destroy target either land or non basic land.
Right.
And so that kind of got us thinking, why? And I think there's plenty of reasons why you would want to use it or not want to use, in general, land destruction.
So
do we want to talk about the dwarf first?
Yeah, let's get to
because I think it's a solid card.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
I've definitely looked at it and went, I kind of want to play this. But at the same time, you're like, it's maybe a bit. It's not narrow, but it's just.
That was a weird video.
There was a weird video that got pulled up, like a dude in like a wrapped up towel knocking himself in the nuts with something.
Wait, I think you might have emailed us, wasn't it? Or
really? No, it was on tweet. It was on tweet.
It was on tweet. It was on tweet.
He tweeted us. It's fine. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I had to click on it. I had to click on the message. It didn't show the
Dwarven Blast Miner.
It's a destroy target non-basic land.
Yeah, so it is it has more for a red. It's a 1/1. So I was like kind of wrong, but I'm not doing a segment on that next week.
Lowery was wrong.
So it's a red and 2 colorless, tap and destroy target non-basic land. So why is this card underplayed?
What he was saying was to add it to our underplayed cards.
Sure. And my response was, "There's only so many cards we can talk about in an episode."
Right. But
when
then
we add this
triggered,
to the list,
it
triggered.
It triggered you. It triggered you to think about
land destruction in general.
Right. So I dig it with the destroy target non-basic land. The hard part with land destruction is if you don't have a replacement, like you played with cards that destroy non-basic lands, look for basic land to replace it.
Sure.
It's
Ghost
not
Quarter
completely screwing somebody out of the game. We saw from, and we actually haven't talked about this since we last had our podcast.
Last week, or
well,
2
weeks ago now.
Yeah.
We played right after we got done with the podcast. We played a game. One of the game, well, the first freaking 3 games, it sucked for me until the last game.
It was kind of fun for me though. But yeah, so
land destruction killed me, and it sucked.
I had Vivictus. You were playing Niv Mizzet. And you had no permanence, and so I just targeted your lands.
Yeah,
and
I did have permanence, but they didn't make sense to kill.
I was going to kill them anyway. In general, like
yeah.
I
so
had other spells.
He kept destroying my lands. He destroyed 3 of my lands, and then the other person we were playing destroyed my land. So
which was weird, but it was super funny.
It was both of us against.
He was just like, keep off the blue.
Yeah, it was like, all right, fuck.
But how unfun was that for you?
Oh, I hated it. I actually, it wasn't at one point I got up and was like, all right, my next card. Oh, no, it wasn't that game. It was the one game where...
Yeah, when you were playing Arcades.
And I just needed a white, and I went 8 turns without getting a white, and I couldn't play any card. And I was just like, all right, just my next card, if whatever, flip it and play it, because it's... I think it was...
so bitter.
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to go talk to my wife.
It was like
somebody that's actually
3
fun.
games in a row where you were either you were screwed, mana screwed, color screwed, and
land destruction.
Screwed. Yeah, and so it's just kind of like land destruction is just so bitter. It makes the game so unfun because it's so long as a game.
I will say this. It's not as bad as Counterspell.
What? Absolutely disagree. In a multiplayer game, Counterspell can only control so much.
For me,
in land destruction, that can stop you from playing the game.
But the thing is, here's the difference: is Wizards doesn't like land destruction, so there isn't as much of it out there. There's normally always a benefit where it's like, go search for basic lands to replace that. Go do this and that. Counterspells are just there. They're there to fuck your shit up and counter it. They don't need to give you a, hey, I countered your spell. Go ahead and go search for a land, or go draw another card on your next turn.
Adam number 2, you need to email or text Adam and say that he's overvaluing counterspells.
Fucking hate counterspells.
Look, counterspells are good, but even though they're kind of everywhere, they're innocuous, they're kind of like part of the game. It's just in a game where you can land, it can go 2-3 hours, and if you don't play for an hour and a half of that game is awful to be in. But it's also awful to like quit. You're like, I'm fucked, I'm done. Then it's just like, well, like you can't just quit, but you're not playing,
right?
And that's why we do friendly mulligans. Make sure that your land at the beginning is at least okay.
Yeah, we don't want it to somebody have a sucky
mulligan
game.
Is you draw up to 7 again after your mulligan. Doesn't matter how many times.
Right.
You just start.
You're not going
to
keep drawing until you get your perfect hand. It's just more of. In that game where I got screwed is like I had 3 land in my hand, and one was a Cavern of Souls, and it just...
You said Defender, and then you couldn't play Arcades or any of your...
Right, and I figured I'd get a white land at some point, but it didn't come for 10 turns. 8 turns. 8 to 10 turns.
And so that is something that's more your fault. So, but
well, I mean, but you can't expect on a 3-color deck to start the game with all 3 colors in your hand, because then that's just ridiculous. Yeah. So you got to assume that you're going to draw it, especially if white is your second highest color in that deck. That I would find it.
It's green, white, and then blue.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So it just it sucked. It just didn't work out for me. So, but land destruction sucks.
So as this dwarf miner. Like, would you play this style of card? Like, do I want to sit down and like scare everybody that I'm going to destroy their land? is that I'll play like a wasteland. I put that in Muldrotha because I can potentially repeat it. But that I did it one time a couple weeks ago when my friends Nick and Ken were over, and I was like, I'm gonna wasteland your bounce, the Ravnica bounce land, and he was like, you can do that every turn, and then they just both went at me, and I was like, you're mono blue, what are you doing to like Ken, and then I became the focus, and I absolutely lost. I think it's a real thing when you play a card like this, where people go, oh shit, I would like. I think I don't want my land done.
I think this is a good card. I think it's actually a good ad that he added. That is underestimated. But for our play group, I guess in general,
I think a lot of play groups don't want land destruction except for very specific things.
Well, I guess when we went over to Adam number 2's house and we played with Bill, and he's like, "Do you want me to play my
land destruction
the deck that everybody doesn't let me play with?"
And there's a reason for that, because people want to play the game,
right?
At least
my
have
same
a
thing with counter spells.
Sure, but I play Cavern of Souls in most of my decks.
I know that's the same, but you can only have one out of 100, so that's a little.
Very little ways of getting your land back from a graveyard, unless you're playing Lord Windgrace.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? As a consistent means.
It's a good card. I like that it's destroy a non-basic land. The hard part is, man, you can wipe somebody out.
So
you can really take. I won't play, but the thing is I like people to play. I guess some people take a joy out of that. That's their thing. No, it is that some people's thing are to make it so that you can't play. I know it seems weird to me because I'm like, I want people to play. So this type of card I wouldn't be playing with as much. Counterspells are another thing because I do want people to actually play the game.
Yeah.
But some people that's their thing is like, I love that I have you locked up and you can't do anything, and I have you under control.
Sure.
So that's just it's your boat.
How I kind of get around this a little bit is, and I think I've mentioned it in the past, is I play spells that don't only specifically target lands. It allows, so I'll use an example of Vindicate. Vindicate will hit any permanent on the field. Mm-hmm. Black, white, colorless sorcery, destroy target permanent. Simple, clean. Beast Within hits any permanent. And so these types of cards gives you the flexibility of if there's a problem land.
Right.
And problem lands, you kind of want Gaea's Cradle. You can Cabal Coffers, which actually Tony on Tilt mentioned at CCC Land. These cards, they are problem lands that just get out of hand. I totally agree that you need some type of way to deal with it. And so that's where I play, I guess, again, Vindicate, Beast Within. That's why these cards are really good. But if there isn't a problem land, then you're not fucking with somebody's land, and you can hit their enchantment, artifact, creature, planeswalker.
I guess another thing I will say, too, is that I know you've played with this commander. Is it a commander? But it's the dragon that when it hits, it deals damage, but then you can kill a land, right? It's a white 2 lands.
White, red, blue.
When that comes out,
6/6.
I want it dead because of the threat of the land being destroyed. So when there's something that's specifically your land is being targeted, it has to die, or that person needs to die.
That's a huge target. And the cool thing about that guy, I can't remember his name specifically offhand, but you can deal damage. You can deal damage to one player and destroy somebody else's lands. Yeah. So you can be like, you're the weak person. You're going to hit 6. I'm going to pay 3, and I'm going to destroy the stronger player's lands so that they are now weaker. And I've had it where I hit a person that didn't have any flyers, go look at the other person, destroy their lands, and they go, quit.
Yeah. Because it sucks.
Absolutely. That's not fun.
Yeah.
So, I get it. I totally get
it is a strong card.
That's
the thing is I agree with what he's saying. It's an underused card, but I don't want to use it.
Like if I'm looking at this, I'm just like, man, how sweet would that be with like 1,000-year elixir, untap it, do it again, man. Or instill energy to be able to like any type of untapping ability and just start wrecking people's.
And see, that's the thing is like, I guess it all depends on what you like to play, what your group likes, because if people just, I don't want people to quit. You get what I'm saying? I'd rather it come down to, oh shit, who's gonna win? Which the crazy thing about our game that we played last week, it came down to a dice roll on the last one, which was pretty freaking amazing. Because like,
so off topic of
we're gonna go side note on this one.
So you're playing Yuriko, then we have Krenko,
right?
And I'm playing Vile Smasher, partnered with.
Wait. Side note to side note, the game that I played one spell, which was the one that makes
Arcades.
The Arcades, but what's the wall that makes it so that your green and blue spells cost one less?
Yeah, Sunscape Familiar.
Yeah, so I played. This is the first time I've ever played one spell the entire game.
That's super frustrating. We didn't mana fuck him on this one. This is the one where he didn't
get a white. But then Lowery did. I'm going to roll even in odds. Even in odds, he did 34 points of damage. Not one time did it go to the other player.
Randomly to Adam.
Randomly, 34 points of damage from Vile Smasher. And I was like, well, this fucking sucks.
It's pretty funny.
So then we get into the next game where I was like, all right, you play it again. I'm going to go to Yuriko, whatever. So Mike's freaking coming out strong with his.
With Krenko.
I'm doing damage with Yuriko because that's what
he has Impact Tremors out, which is whenever a creature comes into play under your control, you deal 1 damage to each opponent. You have a Yuriko. Whenever a ninja deals damage, you'll reveal those cards and opponents lose life to convert a mana cost of those cards.
And I had my top set out where I was doing the split cards, where I was doing a shit ton of damage to each of them.
I'm at 2. Krenko's at 5. You're at 13.
13, yep.
And so you go to reveal cards with Yuriko, and you have 2 ninjas hitting.
And I have the top set. I had like 11 points of damage.
Goes to tap to put 8, I think it was 8 or 9 tokens into play. And I had sat on it. I was just like, well, I'm dead no matter what's happening. But with Krenko tapping, I was like, oh, I can get a Vile Smasher hidden. And so I was able to play... it's white X instant speed.
Whatever, yeah, instant.
I tapped it for 8. And so if it randomly landed on Adam, he would have lost. And Krenko would have won.
To that point, it had hit Mike twice out of, if you count the 2 games, out of like 10 or 15 rolls. And so it was just like, fuck, this sucks. I'm going to lose to a freaking dice roll.
It was so sweet on the stacking. It hits Krenko. He dies before his tokens come into play, but then Yuriko's triggers happen, and I die pretty quick after that, with those triggers.
That going through. But
so
that
was pretty funny. So it was literally a roll of the dice.
Yeah, which up to that point I was not counting on. I knew I thought I was dead.
Everybody thought you were going to die because it stacked. Yuriko. And then Krenko on top, and then
you're
on the toppest.
On the top.
So back to land destruction.
But what I was saying, how it led to that is that I like games to be determined by not people quitting, but by me killing them or whatever. And so to just be like, fuck, I can't do anything. I quit. It just sucks, because it doesn't feel like you're getting your potential. You don't get to play your deck out. Mm-hmm. And so if you're getting people frustrated enough where it sucks, I mean, those are the decks that I think you've killed the fastest. Whenever people just are, well, that doesn't happen very often, but people will be like, all right, you win.
Sure, yeah, it probably does happen the most with me.
Well, because you don't know how it's gonna, but then yours start comboing
when it just starts really working, and then people just look at. And they can read the tea leaves, and they're like, "Nah, this game's over."
Right.
If I can go Inferno Titan turn 3 randomly, and then turn 4, Basilisk Collar on it, kill everybody's creatures, and gain 9 life. We
can't play anything, and we can't do
people, they're just like, "Wow, this game's over. Let's end this."
So that's kind of the point with land destruction is you don't want
land destruction and just cards in general. You need to make sure that. I think it's fine to do it. It's one of those times where it's like, okay, you did it once, great.
Yeah.
But if you're using it to just like control somebody out of a color, like it's not fun to play against.
I guess it goes back to our counterspell stuff too. We keep going around with that, but that's the thing is like that's why we don't play it. It just wasn't fun.
The biggest problem that you're doing is you're taking away a future segment by bringing up counterspell and why you shouldn't play those in the future.
But no, I mean, but it goes in general with like if you notice that your play group isn't having fun with whatever you're doing, like
you should change it a little bit.
Because
you don't have to change it a lot of bit, but a little bit, and make sure.
I think that's the biggest thing since we've started this podcast and started building these decks is. One, we've taken out the tutors to make it more random,
absolutely,
which has been a lot more fun because it is totally more like, oh shit, what am I going to draw? It's not like, all right, this engine is going. Now, if you want to make more consistent decks, we can definitely show you decks.
I didn't have a single tutor in Licia,
but
I have vampiric, demonic, enlightened tutor. I can do all that.
All
Gamble,
that stuff,
which would be it.
And that used to be in all our decks. Like it just been like, all right, get this thing rolling, whatever. Now it's more of let's have fun with everybody.
But decks have become much more fun and interactive, in my opinion.
And then you just have more interaction with the group that you're with too. So it's a win-win.
Yeah. That was you.
I've been holding out. That was a build-up right there. That'll be cut. No farts are on this.
That's not fair.
I get your burps.
Yeah.
You can't get your...
That's just a mouth fart. That's all that is.
A mouth fart. Oh, I think I'm drunk.
Very possible.
Anything else we want to talk about with land? No, Tony Untitled, I love the comments and everything he adds in. It's really good stuff.
He definitely makes us think a bit more. And
we went into this. We did not discuss this beforehand. We were just like, all right, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the land.
How are we going to get where we are? Like, especially,
And going into this, I was like, oh, we're going to be light on this episode. And then we just started talking. And now we're at our normal.
We're actually not going to do Smith Specs of the Week this week.
Yeah, we are skipping that because we did
We've done two,
last week.
And essentially what it is like concentrate on the new mechanics that are kind of coming out. There's going to be new cards that we have not been able to see prior to us recording.
Yeah, so we don't want to give you specs that...
There's going to be movement on cards when new cards are being revealed. We have no idea what that's going to be. Good luck.
Yeah. You don't need us for a week. You're all right. You'll make
2
money.
weeks, essentially.
Yeah. Well,
maybe check out our Twitter with Insta Specs.
Oh, I'm not doing that.
Probably
when I'm in Florida.
not. Yeah,
you do it.
Yeah. I don't know how to run Twitter. I just watched you not know how to run Twitter.
What are you talking about? I got it right. I figured it out.
Eventually.
I just had to find the message and then click on it.
Cut it down to, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I totally got it. Like within seconds. It didn't even take long at all. All right. Well, so that should do it for this week, right? Are we done? Are we done for this week?
I'm all right with that, yeah.
Did you fart there too?
No, that was the chair. Yours is juicy. Mine's dry as a leather bone.
What?
It's a leather seat-ish. Leatherish. Don't judge me.
That one smells. All right.
You can find us on Twitter at CommanderSmiths. You can email us at
CommanderSmiths.
And you can...
Oh, man, that smells.
You can Twitter us at
CommanderSmiths. Oh, we should maybe have a solid ender there.
Because yours was not solid.
No.
That's not a solid fart.
I hope the mics picked that up because that was pretty...
It was dirty. It was dirty. Okay, that's going to itch when it dries.
All right. Do it again.
To what? We already did it. We already did the sound shit. That's all in.
We're going to cut this shit. Because here's the thing. If it's really disgusting, I really don't want to gross people out. Because... All right. So you can follow us on Twitter.
At CommanderSmiths.
Or you can Gmail us.
At CommanderSmiths.
Or you can YouTube us.
At CommanderSmiths.
And you can subscribe, like, share, all that fun stuff on YouTube as well.
So Adam just cut out the last 2 minutes.
Maybe.
And if you want to subscribe to our Patreon, we will have...
We don't even have a Patreon yet.
Yeah, but it might give us an incentive to do it so that we can do your fart jokes.
Oh, man. I ripped ass, and it smelled really bad, and
But they can't smell it. I don't know why you're cutting it. I'm fairly disappointed.
I think it might sound really bad. So if it sounds really bad and
juicy.
You didn't hear it, it's because I cut it because it sounded really disgusting. All right. Well, you guys have a pleasant New Year. I don't know.
I hope you're recovering well. Thank you for listening.
And I hope the volume was down low. Down low? I don't know.
They control the volume.
I know, but I hope your hangover isn't too bad. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.